One of the things I wanted to do today is to talk a little bit about some of the common myths with hospice care. I think when we say that word, everybody has something different that they think in their mind. Some people are afraid of the word hospice care because that means death is imminent at some point for someone. But I also knew, other than the editor being my best friend today, that when I got up and knew I was going to come and talk with you, that's the one thing every single one of us has in common, that at one point in our lives it will end. And none of us is going to get out of here any other way. We don't know when, we don't know how, but it's something for certain for all of us. So when you think about hospice care, and you begin to educate yourself about hospice care, it's something that can become much less scary. It doesn't need to be a scary thing. Hospice is designed to support and to provide comfort and to provide opportunity to really live as many days as you have left to live. So one of the first myths I'd like to clear up for you in hospice care is that hospice helps you die. Hospice does not help you die. First of all, that's illegal to help anybody die. You all remember Jack Kevorkian. He did some time for that, for helping people die. There is one state in the United States where physicians can assist people who decide to do that for themselves, but we don't live anywhere near that state. And our state says you may not do that. Hospice care, on the other hand, is designed to help provide comfort for people. Is it true that we use medication that isn't typically used for other reasons? That's very true. Sometimes people have symptoms and pain or issues with their breathing at end of life that they don't have at other times. And so when you have those circumstances, you might have to use things that you don't use in other circumstances. But it does not cause end of life. It actually provides longer life sometimes when people are on hospice. That's the other myth that I hear. You get on hospice, people are going to die sooner. When people come to hospice care, you have a social worker on your team, you have a chaplain on your team, and every person who begins to work with you and your family begins to ask the questions that you might not think about when facing end of life. First of all, that's a pretty emotional, overwhelming time, and you might not think of everything that you need to think about. So when hospice comes and begins asking questions like that, helps you get your affairs in order, asks you some questions to make sure that you come to the most peaceful place that you can be or desire to be for yourself, with your body and with your mind, with your spirit, with your family. And that's another thing, that we engage everybody in that care. So what we have found, there has been research actually done, that folks who are on a hospice care program can live up to 2.7 months longer. Why is that? Well, the reason that that is because they come to a place where they are comfortable. When people struggle emotionally, when people struggle with pain, when that's resolved, that can happen. People can live longer on a hospice program. Does that always happen? Of course not. But that can happen with certain disease processes. So some of the other myths that we hear in hospice care is you can't stay home if you have hospice. Well, that's also a myth because we provide hospice care wherever you call home. If you live here and this is your home, if there are other supports that can help take care of you when we come and provide hospice care, you can stay right in your home. If you know somebody in the nursing home and they need hospice care, they can also receive hospice care in the nursing home. Whether you know somebody in the community who lives in a house, we can provide hospice care there. So what we say with Mercy Health Visiting Nurse Services and Hospice is that wherever a patient calls home, that is where we provide service. Another myth for hospice care is you have to have a DNR signed to be on hospice. Does everyone do you know what a DNR is? A DNR is a form that you sign that says, do not resuscitate me. If for some reason your life should end and you don't want to have CPR and be taken to the hospital and perhaps put on life support, if you don't want that to happen, then you have a DNR order signed. Your physician, you speak to your physician and the two of you agree that that is what you want, and he'll sign the form for you and you keep that at home. Now, most people who are on hospice care do sign one, but it is not a requirement in our hospice program to have that when you come on board. Some people we serve actually go through their entire end-of-life journey and never do sign one. And that's okay, that is their decision. Hospice care is something that an individual and a family together determine what their goals are during the time that they're on service. What is it that they want to accomplish? What is it that they're thinking about the time that they have left? We've had many people come on service and say, gosh, you know, I think one of our last really amazing things that we did with someone at his end of life, he was a helicopter pilot in the war and wanted more than anything to fly in a helicopter again. Well, this was a man who had been homebound for a very long time and not able to do a lot of things. Well, our volunteer coordinator, we have a great group of volunteers who also serve our hospice patients. Our volunteer coordinator was able to find him a pilot who took him in a helicopter and was able to fly again before he passed. And for him, that was a very meaningful thing. For us, that might not be so important or high on our list of things that we would like to do. But for him, that was a very important thing to do before he passed. So those are the kinds of things that we get into when we ask people the questions about what they're thinking and where are they going and what is it that they'd like to accomplish with the time that they have left. Some people like to record or make books for their family, and we have a volunteer who helps to pull those things together too, so that they have something to give people and to leave behind. Another myth that I hear in hospice care is, once I come to hospice, I can't take any more of my medicine. Now, there are certain medications on hospice care that is correct, you can't take. Let's say you've got cancer and you're having chemotherapy for that cancer. If you're seeking curative treatment, something that will help you be cured for your cancer, those chemo drugs are not allowed on hospice, because hospice care is designed for those who have decided that they are going to use comfort and not seek a cure anymore for their disease process. So there won't be chemotherapy meds for curative measures on hospice care. But let's say you have a heart condition and the heart medication that you take helps to keep water from retaining in your body and helps to make and keep you comfortable. That's something you would want to keep taking so that you stay comfortable. And again, it's going to be your choice. As a hospice social worker, I did get to the journey of end of life with people who said to me, gosh, I just don't want to take all these pills anymore. That's their choice. They don't have to. But it's certainly not something that when they come to us for our hospice program that we say to them, all right, when you sign on to hospice, we're not going to take your medicine anymore. That's just not the case. Some of those medicines are necessary for comfort.